Hi, and welcome to a presentation from the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith. My name is Anne DeSantis, and I'm the director. You can learn more about us at our website at nonnatus.org. We're all about families in crisis and helping those families who are going through very difficult times. So I invite you to connect with us or send me an email with a prayer request at director.srnf@gmail.com. We're so happy because on this day, we have a fabulous guest for you during this half-hour show. Her name is Emily K. Whiting, and you can go to her website, learn more about her. And today's talk will be raising sons of honor and daughters of dignity. I think I might have reversed that, or daughters of dignity and sons of honor. And this is going to be an awesome presentation about what it means to be a parent, what it means to raise our children in the way of Christ with all that in mind. Emily, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Anne, for having me. It's such a pleasure and such a pleasure to be here with the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation.
Thank you. I'd love to read your bio for those who are with us. It is
Sure.
a great bio, and you're coming to us from the Ohio area. Emily K. Whiting comes to us from Northeast Ohio. She was born and raised in the Catholic Church, but it wasn't until college she grew to know Jesus on a deeply personal level and until early adulthood when she truly claimed the Catholic faith as her own. Emily attended the Ohio State University and earned a bachelor's degree in agricultural communications with training in journalism and marketing. Public speaking and writing are Emily's professional training. She uses these skills in the agriculture community and now also for her ministry. In her ministry, writings, and speaking, Emily shares real life, real love, and real faith. Specifically, she is passionate about sharing the real love of Jesus Christ through her real life stories that have led to a deeper and richer faith. Her ultimate mission is to lead for who he created them to be. She is a student of St. John Paul II and his theology of the body and infuses these truths in all her work. Emily and her husband are beyond blessed with two beautiful children. Their eldest was born with many medical challenges and continues to teach her parents true faith as they have a front row seat to watch God perform miraculous healing. Emily jokingly tells her husband she wants 20 children. Or is she joking? I like that.
To be determined.
To be determined. That's right. I also would love to ask people to please go to our YouTube channel because we have a part 1 of this two-part series where Emily discussed what she mentioned in her bio about the journey with her daughter and the medical issues and how God really intervened to just bring so much healing and bring the Holy Spirit down and help them get through those challenging times as they have come and gone. So, yeah, it's truly amazing. So please go to our YouTube channel. It's called Philly Nonnatus, like the city Philly. That's where we are headquartered, the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation. So Philly Nonnatus, be sure to like that or click on all notifications so that you can learn about our other podcasts that we are doing. So now we're back to our program here, which is raising sons of honor and daughters of dignity. Again, I think I might have reversed it, so forgive me for the title.
That's all right.
Right, but it's you know what this talk is about, and I'm sure that our listeners and our viewers are excited to hear what this is all about. So please do share.
Thank you so much, Anne. Yeah, I realized I titled it a kind of a tongue twister, so might need to revisit that title. But this talk came along. It's titled "Raising Daughters of Dignity and Sons of Honor: How to Raise Kids in a Sex-Crazed World," and it came as a result of multiple things that kind of came together very much by the Holy Spirit and not by my doing. So I'll provide a little bit of background, and then what I'd really love to do on this short time together is to help those who are listening to learn a little bit about theology of the body and how do we tie those beautiful truths that our faith provide us into our parenting so that we ultimately raise children to recognize their own value, their own honor, their own dignity, and then, of course, those around them. Because, of course, we as parents, we want nothing more than for our children to ultimately have a close relationship with Christ. And that starts by recognizing that we are his children. We are made in the image and likeness of God, and so are those around us. And so that's what this whole talk is about. That's what this was created for, was to help equip us as parents, because of course that's what we want for our children.
That's right. I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes, I don't know any parent who doesn't want that for their child, right? So, yes. So thank you for the great introduction, and again, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. It's quite an honor and a privilege. So I'll share a little bit of the background of kind of what led to here and why I'm sitting in front of you today, and then we can go from there if that works.
Please do. Please do.
Okay.
And if somebody's watching this right now, I ask you to click on the share button on social media, because all parents need to listen to this message from Emily.
Thank you, Anne.
A good one.
I think so. So just going back to the beginning, interestingly enough, 5 years ago last week, I had an experience where we had a very tragic accident, and we lost a very, very close friend who we were just, of course, devastated. And I think many of us have had similar experiences when something in life just goes completely wrong, not the way you expected, and it kind of rattles you to the core and makes you sit back and wonder, what am I doing with my life? Because what if tomorrow is, my day to go home to the Lord? And I had been for a long time having those kind of Holy Spirit taps on my shoulder saying, Emily, I want you to use your professional training for my church. And I kept getting those taps over and over, at random times of the day. Usually it was when I was driving home by myself in the car from work or something like that. And for the longest time, I would kind of say, okay, yeah, someday, God, I'll do that. And then this accident happened, and it shook me to the core, and it reminded me someday needs to be today, because I don't know what happens tomorrow. Amen. So that's what launched me. Yes, that's what launched me into this ministry. So I began to pray into those Holy Spirit taps, is what I'm calling them for now anyway, and just asking the Lord, okay, what do you want me to do for your church? I hear you telling me you want me to use my professional training for the church, but what do I do? As you read in my bio, my training is in agriculture communication. So it's not necessarily the most natural, transition. But the beautiful thing is, it was a great training in public speaking, in writing, in communications, in journalism, so that what I've come to learn, God was asking me to use those skills to then share with his people his incredible heart and draw them to him. So that's what I've set out to do. And I began to pray, okay, God, I'm happy to speak and write, but I don't want to be a resounding gong, with nothing important to say. So what do you want me to say? And he revealed over time that he wanted me to share my heart and my journey of learning his heart through honestly doing a lot of things wrong, specifically in the realm of relationships, of desires, and of learning what his true intention was for our bodies, for sexual intimacy, those kinds of things. And so I set out to share that with my audiences. I would go to PSR classes, youth groups, young adult groups, parent groups, and just share with them our story, or my story. It's ours, of course, naturally, because I have a husband, so it's our story. But my story I'd share with them, so that ultimately my goal was to draw them to God's heart. And what's really neat is, as I began this ministry, I began to learn about this thing called theology of the body. I'd not even heard of it before. And like I said, or like you read in my bio, I grew up in the Catholic Church, and so now looking back, I wonder, how did I not know about this? But as I began to dive into this ministry, theology of the body kept surfacing, and I realized I've got to figure out what this theology of the body thing really is. And so I started reading, started going to the Theology of the Body Institute with Christopher West, taking in any podcast that would show up online that talked about theology of the body. What I quickly learned was that this theology of the body was putting language to the experiences I had already had, and it was teaching me the words to express what I had experienced in my heart and in my life. And so it was such a beautiful revelation, and it just set me even more on fire for this ministry to share even more. So long story short, then of course, as you know, we had our daughter, and we shared a little bit about her story. She came with many, many medical challenges. And once we had her and got to a kind of a stable medical place, I told my audiences, hey, I'm back to speaking and writing. If you would like a speaker to come and share about the beautiful design of our bodies and relationships, let me know. And wouldn't you know it, I got a flood of requests, but it wasn't about that. They wanted to know about our story with our daughter, and they wanted to know about our faith journey with her. And so I've actually come to learn that they're both beautifully married messages because they're both rooted in the beautiful message of theology of the body. So the real big picture of what theology of the body is, essentially the thesis statement, is that our bodies, our physical bodies, make visible the invisible love of God. And we as human beings, as the image bearers of God, are created to be gifts to other people and to be a visible sign of the love of God. That's the real short version of theology of the body.
That's a good short version. And it's an honor because since this program is geared for parenting, how important is it that young children and adolescents get to know that little by little? I know that it's a process, right? But how important. So thank you.
Oh my goodness, Anne, it's so important. You know, just as parents, if we can imagine our child's life, if they can recognize their own value, to just imagine where their life would go if they knew their own dignity, if they truly knew in their heart that they were image bearers of God and that they were created as a gift to others and created to have a relationship with Christ. If we truly knew that, the world that we grew up in and our children are growing up in would be so much, they would be able to handle it, right, a little bit better. And like the tagline of this talk says, we're raising our children in a sex-crazed world, a very self-centered world. And so if we're not teaching them the value of their bodies, who is? Unfortunately, the culture certainly is not.
Yes, absolutely. Because right now there's a lot of confusion. And we know that there's even a lot of confusion within the schools too, and what the schools are trying to implant in our children. And by that, I mean mostly the public school system. I'm sure that you would agree. I can't speak for all of the other types of schools, but certainly what's been being instilled in just a blanket statement, in the educational system. You don't hear much about as you said, being the son of honor or the daughter of dignity. You don't hear that.
No, and the language of being created as a gift for others is one that we don't often hear that. And I'll share more of what I mean by that as we kind of dive in deeper. But I love your point about the schools, because actually the catalyst to me writing this talk, I have about 8 different talks on various topics. Some of them are medical because of our background with our daughter. Some of them are very much teaching what we're talking about today. And this is one of them. And this actually came because I live in the Cleveland diocese, and our diocese last year, or I think it was last year, just instituted standards across all of our classes in our Catholic schools for theology of the body, which is so exciting.
Wow. Oh, that is exciting. That's good news.
I know. So preschool all the way to 8th grade, they're all being taught theology of the body, of course, at their level of, what's relevant at their age. And it's so exciting. And it made me realize, we are asking our teachers to teach this content that many of them maybe haven't been exposed to. And then we're sending our children home to parents who might not have heard of theology of the body either. And so this talk really came about as something I wanted to use as a gift to the church to help our parents and our teachers get on fire for theology of the body and to learn more. I definitely don't consider myself a teacher of theology of the body. I have a lot to learn myself. But what I do consider myself as is a witness to the power of the message and a witness to the incredible beauty of how our bodies can truly lead us, if we recognize the symbolism, lead us to a closer relationship with Christ.
Thank you so much. So please continue. So far, so good. So far, so wonderful.
Thank you. So I'm going to consult my notes really quick. I promise I won't look down too much. But so I wanted to just dive in and share a few quick things. Of course, we're not going to be able to cover a whole lot in a short amount of time. And that's always the challenge I face with any speaking, because, I always want to share everything. And so gotta make sure I just share the top things.
We'll have to have a part 2, Emily. Let's have a part 2 at some point. We will.
That sounds great.
So if you just get to cover some of it on this talk, please don't worry. We'll get you back on for another show. Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Anne. Well, first off, I wanted to share about 5 different tips that we as parents, no matter how much we have knowledge of theology of the body or not, can share with our children starting today so that they can begin to recognize their own value and dignity. And so the very first of those 5 is we can't give what we don't have, right? And we as parents, like we said at the beginning, we all want our children to know their value, to recognize their dignity, to expect others to treat them with that same value and dignity. And yet, many of us feel very ill-equipped. And so the first thought that I have is that we can't give what we don't have. So my invitation to you as parents is to dive into your faith and learn more. Learn more about theology of the body, learn more about God's creation and design for relationships, why he created us male and female. Ask those hard questions of why the church has the kind of the rules, if you will, about these things, because they're all there with great purpose, meant to woo us closer to Christ's heart and closer to the men and women he created us to be, so that we can live fully alive. And so the more we can dive in, ask the hard questions, learn, the more we're going to be equipped to then share that with our children, because we can't give what we don't have. And so I will share my email address, because you're welcome to message me or call me if you would like any specific resources. I have a whole list of different resources on theology of the body. Some are from Christopher West, who is very well known on this topic. Some are from Jason Everett, also very well known. And then there's a whole list of other resources too. That ask and we shall receive, right? If we seek, we will find, and God will open the doors for us to learn more, and that will equip us to then equip our children to recognize their own value and dignity. So the first thought is that we can't give what we don't have, so it's an invitation to dive in and learn more.
Amen.
Yes. And it can be scary, because a lot of times many of us have slipped up in this area of our life. I mean, the reason I'm a speaker and writer on it is because I've slipped up in this area of my life in pretty much every way the church says don't, I did, And so it can be very scary, because we have to face a lot of our maybe shortcomings, our questions, our challenges, some things that we regret. But you know what? When we face those things head on and we dive in deep and we grab hold of Jesus's hand and say, I want to walk with you, it'll be an incredible journey, and I can't wait to journey with you. So that's my invitation to you. So the second tip would be, of course, my natural next thing would be, okay, that's great, I'll learn more, but then that means I'm not going to be equipped to teach my children for, like 5 or 10 years once I get my theology degree, right? No. I don't have a theology degree. Most of the parents listening probably don't have a theology degree. I'd love one someday, but you don't have to be a theologian to raise your children to recognize their value and their dignity. And so point number 2 is to embrace the fact that we don't know a lot of things and we're not the expert. And truly, your children will appreciate that vulnerability so very much. If we can, when our children ask us questions and we don't know, that's okay. We can say, you know what? that's a great question. I don't know the answer. Why don't we talk to the priests the next time we go to Mass? Or why don't we look that up and see what we can find? Learning your faith together with your children can be so very powerful. And so I just ask you to not let your fear of your lack of knowledge hold you back from having these conversations with your children.
Perfect. So true. So true. Good job so far. Yeah.
So point number 1 was we can't give what we don't have. So dive in, learn more, grow in your faith very intentionally. And point number 2 is don't let the fact that you don't have all that knowledge stop you from sharing the beautiful message of Christ with your children and the value of their bodies. And then point number 3 is, a very basic way to start talking about the value of our bodies with our children, regardless of their age. My children are very little. I have a 2.5 and a 1-year-old, so my conversations are quite limited. But we sing EIO all day long. But one very basic area or topic that can help convey the beauty of life, the dignity of life, and the dignity of their lives is starting to talk about creation, themselves, and others as a gift. So what I mean by that is God created us out of the love of his own heart. It wasn't because he needed us. It's because he wanted us, right? And he created us in his image to then be gifts to other people. And our bodies are visible signs of the fact that he created us to be in these beautiful, intimate relationships with each other, and ultimately to lead us to a beautifully intimate relationship with Christ. And so truly everything around us is a gift. Our life is such a gift. And we as parents, we know that because we know the frailty of it. When we first get pregnant or we adopt a child or what have you, we realize, wow, that's such a miracle because life is so frail. It's such a gift, and we know that. But somehow it gets lost as we kind of go about life. We forget that it's such a gift. So we can just start, incorporating that language in our everyday conversations with our kids. Before the podcast, I went outside to have a little cup of coffee, and I was watching the squirrels run around, and they were chasing each other and playing, and one stole a walnut from the other, and it was hysterical. And it was such a great reminder that nature is a gift to us, and we are a gift to them. Yes. And we are, with that gift, charged with the beautiful responsibility to take care of it and nurture it, but also to enjoy it and love it. And that's the same when it comes to each other and the value and the dignity of each other. So point number 3 is, just very basic things, starting to incorporate the language of gift in your everyday conversations with your kids.
That's a good one because there's gifts all over.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, we're trying to prepare them to recognize that when they enter into a relationship with others, particularly an intimate relationship, they are entering into what God has created to be a covenant of giving of yourself completely to the other. Your goal in marriage is to be a complete self-gift and to emulate Christ's love, right, of completely giving of himself freely to the other. And that's what we're trying to teach our children, is that we are able to be the image bearers of Christ in the way we love others and the way we recognize that value and dignity in ourselves. So just starting with the basic language of gift is a great place to start, no matter how old they are.
Amen. Wow, this is just wonderful information. And again, just to repeat to our listeners and viewers that it's EmilyKWhiting.com. You want to definitely go there and check it out. A beautiful website, please. And all the great work you're doing. Thank you.
Yeah, and on there you can email me, and also, I'll share it again at the end, but my email address is EmilyKWhiting@gmail.com. So not too terribly different from the web address. And my number is 330-466-0325, and you're welcome to text or call anytime. We can talk about this more and what's pertinent to you and your family.
Thank you so much. So I think we have about 7 or so minutes left. Would love to hear the rest of your list there, and gives us some more to think about and act upon.
Yes. Well, so point number 4 is to just, it goes very hand in hand with number 3, to start recognizing the language we use when we talk about ourselves, when we talk about others, when we talk about and to our children. You know, for instance, self-degradation. It's so easy to do, something we in our culture very much accept. I do it all the time and catch myself where I'll say, oh man, I was really dumb to do that. Or, oh, I was, you know, whatever, something self-degrading versus uplifting each other and ourselves. And, you know, that doesn't mean we brush under any failings or we don't look at things that we've done wrong, but we make sure it's never in a way that degrades the value of us as human beings. And same with our children, never calling them names of, you know, like my children are very little, so I try to make sure whenever, you know, they have a dirty diaper, I don't say, oh man, you're so stinky, because no, the child is not stinky. To say, oh, you have a dirty diaper, that's different, you know? So that's a silly example of very little children.
I think it's a good one. No, I do. I think it's a good one. Thank you.
Yeah, just trying to make sure we're never degrading the value of that person. And, you know, when I just love it. You know, there's nothing better than a baby just running around the house in a diaper. It's just so cute. But it's so easy for us to make degrading comments of like, oh, I don't know. You know, look at that big belly or something like that. But to make sure we just make positive comments, you know, whenever it's about the body or about the human as a person. We never want to degrade or call our children names. It's easy when we're, you know, mad at them or frustrated to say, you're so lazy, why didn't you unload the dishwasher, or something like that, rather than approaching it not from an angle of degrading and calling them names. So point number 4 would just be to make sure we start paying attention to how we talk and not degrading the value of the human person, whether it's our children or other people or ourselves.
No, I think it's perfect. I appreciate you brought that up because on a side note, I will say that the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith, we're all about helping families in crisis. And maybe somebody who's watching is listening to this and thinking, you know, my family was so far off from that. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they themselves are so far off from that. It doesn't matter where you are. I don't care if the person is in their 40s, 50s, 60s, or even 70s. There's always a new beginning.
Yes.
So please, you know, when you learn all of this, whether or not you have little kids at home or whoever you are, it's never too late. So
no.
Learn it now because, you know, you have dignity no matter where you are in your life, no matter what's happened. And we are there, happy to be there for you and your family. And so glad that we have a great person here like Emily to talk about this dignity.
Yes, it's never too late. And you know what? We are here because of Christ, and we would be remiss to not recognize the fact that he came to forgive us of our sins and help us ultimately grow closer to the humans he created us to be, which is ultimately to be in deep, intimate relationship with him. And so he wants to forgive us, help lead us to his heart, help us grow into the parents he created us to be. Even if our children are grown and gone, they will recognize that we are growing and learning in our faith, and it will still have an impact no matter what. It's never too late. So thanks for saying that, Anne.
Thank you so much.
And then the last thing I wanted to toss out there, point number 5, is that if and when, and it's not if, when our kids ask questions, to make sure we always answer them, to not give politician answers. And, you know, I haven't gotten to the 4-year-old stage where it's just like question after question after question. So I'm sure there'll be a certain point where I'll just be like, enough questions, you know. But what I think is very important as we raise our children is that if we can answer the simple questions, then children will gain confidence to come to us with the hard ones. And that's ultimately what we want. We want them to come to us on the tough topics, like, you know, money is a tough one. Sex is a tough one. Our desires is a tough one. Religion is a tough one. And we don't want them to learn those things from culture or from their peers or from the locker room. We want them to come to us. Even if, going back to our earlier conversation, we don't have the answers. That's okay. We want them to know that they can come to us. And I think I was so blessed in my childhood that, you know, my parents certainly didn't have all the answers, but they always opened the door to conversations and questions. And so my invitation to you is to always answer your children's questions. Of course, we only want to give them whatever is age appropriate, but there's always an answer to whatever their question is that can be age appropriate. And I invite you to just dive into those questions. You know, I saw a commercial, or I listened to a commercial when I was listening to Pandora yesterday, and the actress was saying something about, you know, when we, how did it go? Something about making kids. And the little toddler said, "Mommy, how do you make kids?" And she just acted, you know, kind of was like, what, and dismissed it. And I think often we as parents, you know, it was funny as a silly commercial, but unfortunately it revealed a big truth. And that is that we as parents often dismiss those very fundamental, good questions because we're afraid. We don't know how to answer them. But we know those questions are coming. So the more we can be upfront with them, be open, do not dismiss the questions. Don't act like you didn't hear them, because when they get older, we want them to come to us with those questions again.
Oh, it's just perfect. It's such a good basis, what you started us here with on this program. So we definitely have to do a part 2, because I think, yeah, it can develop into something even more detailed. So let's just say that we will do that. Emily, if you'll join me, I invite you right now. I know that I'm just springing that on you right at this moment.
I'll be there.
The part 2. But any final words before we end?
You know, I think just the biggest thing is going back to what you said, that it's never too late, and we all will slip up. We probably all have slipped up. I will be the first to tell you I've slipped up. You know, I already told you pretty much everything the church said don't do, I did. But that's where the beauty of Christ's love and healing power can come. And we're not doing this alone. He is with us. He is for us. Mother Mary is with us. And the two of them are teaming up to teach us how to raise daughters of dignity and sons of honor if we only tune in and ask for their help.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. And it reminds me also of Our Lady of Mercy, because we are a Mercedarian foundation founded from the Mercedarian religious order. I want to also invite people to check out their website for the Mercedarian order at orderofmercy.org and learn about the friars and the work of the friars. We're stationed in 4 different areas of the United States, so please do. And the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation is headquartered in Philadelphia, but we're an online ministry, so we're there for you. You can reach out to us at any time on our website at nonnatus.org, or you can email me, as I said, at director.srnf@gmail.com. Emily, I thank you again so much for joining us, and invite people to stay in touch with you, and stay tuned, because we are going to do another part of this series. So again, I thank everyone for joining us. Emily, thank you.
Thank you, Anne. It's been such a pleasure.
It has been such a pleasure. God bless.
God bless.